What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the videos. I'm Austin. This is Octane.media. If you're not already, go ahead and follow my socials. Instagram is really pretty much it, other than here on YouTube, _octane.media_. And subscribe if you haven't already. Go ahead and do that. We're at 1,162 subscribers, which is pretty freaking awesome. We also now have an actual chair. It's not a camping chair anymore. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 5 mods you should or should be doing to your GTI. This applies mostly to the Mark 8 because that's my experience, but I've had other GTIs, and this is really just a guideline for any car in general. So I say any car in general. There's going to be some small discrepancies, but for the most part, if you're getting into cars, you're just starting out, you're looking for the first things you want to do to your car. These are going to be some tasteful things that you can do that are going to improve your driving experience and make the car more enjoyable for yourself if you do this right. And yeah, so let's just hop into it. The first thing we're going to talk about, because this is going to improve the car for yourself so much and just change the characteristic of it, change the sound of it, and change how you feel about it, hopefully for the better, is an exhaust. So on the Mark 8 comes stock with a pretty quiet exhaust, and then we have actually changed it out to an AWE tuning track exhaust. And it's got a really good sound to it. It can be a little, I don't want to say droney because that's not the right word I'm looking for, but it can be a little bit extra on cold startups and your first 2 minutes of driving while it's warming up. After that, completely fine. I love it. Now, with an exhaust, you are going to want to spend the extra money and get a nice quality exhaust. It'll be worth it. Sound-wise, drivability-wise, you're not going to get a lot of drone if you get the right exhaust. A lot of times with cheaper exhausts, you have fitment issues, you have droning problems, or both, and then you have the quality of the material. The material just doesn't hold up, and it corrodes pretty quickly, and it doesn't look very good. Save up the extra little bit of money. Get a quality exhaust. I'm not telling you to go buy a $2,000-$3,000 exhaust. I am telling you that $150 eBay exhaust is probably not the one that you want to get. Second thing we're going to talk about is, yes, you can see, kind of, you can see like from your boobs down.
Do you not want to see me at all?
Not at that angle.
Shit, I'm
Careful,
on the
dude.
wall. God.
Second thing we're going to talk about is an intake. Once again, this is not necessarily something you're going to want to cheap out on. You are going to want to get a nice quality intake that's going to hold up and not be your $60, $70 off-brand in-gen intake you find on eBay or secondhand on Marketplace. In our case, we have 2 different intakes. We have one on our DSG car that is from Leyo Motorsports. Really good. Nice quality intake, and for the money, you really can't beat it. It's like $360 shipped. At the price point, the quality, it's pretty dang good. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have a more expensive intake from Unitronic. If you guys haven't watched that video already, I'll link it down below in the description for you. The Unitronic Intake is fully forged carbon and looks absolutely amazing. You're paying, in this case, you're paying for the aesthetic as well as the function of it, but more so the aesthetic. It's right around $1,100, and it's not cheap, but we were fortunate enough to work with them, and we got one put on our 40th anniversary GTI. Absolutely beautiful. If you're into that sort of stuff, go check them out. Back to the cheaper intake. It functions perfectly fine, it looks great, and it will do the job. But you're not going to have the problem, say, of a $60, $70 intake where the cone filter is just falling apart and you end up sucking it into your turbo, and then you're way more money in fixing your car than you would have been for a proper intake. Another thing is when you get a nice proper intake, it's going to function and direct air and colder air better to your motor than, say, your $60, $70 eBay intake. So still on the intakes, the things you're going to notice, what you're going to gain from an intake, you're going to gain more from a tune than just slapping an intake on your car. But the intake itself is going to allow your vehicle to breathe better, and it's going to provide you with quite a bit of noticeable, audible increase of your vehicle and the induction sounds that come along with that. So like the exhaust, it is going to enhance certain sounds of your vehicle, just bring out its character quite a bit more. Now that you have an exhaust and an intake, your car sounds the part. Now you need to look the part. So take your monster truck looking self, throw it on the ground. Number 3 in our top 5 mods that you should start out with or do to your car first is going to be suspension, and that is going to address 2 things really. It's going to address your ride height. It's going to dial it in a little bit more. You're not going to have as much wheel gap, and it's going to enhance your connection to the road. That and your tires are the only thing really connecting you to the road besides your steering wheel. But your suspension and how it behaves is going to transmit into the car, and you are going to feel it. With this, there are 2 options really. There's 3, but 2 options that I personally have dealt with. We have lowering springs, which I would recommend for active damping cars. You have adjustable dampening suspension. This is probably going to be your best option because the suspension it comes with from factory is pretty dang good. At least on the 40th anniversary GTI, we love that you can control it from inside the car to an extent, and it works really pretty well. It's got lowering springs on it, and paired with the lowering springs, it is pretty great for a daily driver. Now on our DSG car, it does not have that active suspension option. What I wish I would have done is got a higher quality coilover set. Once again, not something you're going to want to get the cheapest thing you find on, or you probably will ride worse than factory setup. It'll look better, but you won't perform better, and you probably will end up regretting it when you knock a filling out of your mouth. But a high quality coilover set or a nice quality lowering spring set. Lowering springs are going to be the cheapest of the 2 options, so if you're trying to be budget friendly, I would absolutely choose a nice quality lowering spring set, and that will give you the desired height that you're looking for. It won't increase stiffness by too much. One thing you are going to have to look out for is bottoming out. A lot of these higher end, I say higher end, I'm talking like $300 sets. A lot of these higher end lowering spring sets come with adjusted bump stops, so they're shortened just a little bit to give you a little more clearance. That way you don't bottom out and rock the car too hard. I did mention that there were 3 different options. If you are wanting to go super low and slam your car on its nuts, your best option is going to be air suspension. A good quality air suspension kit is going to run you north of $2,500 to $3,000, and depending on the kit you get, it could ride better or worse. I personally don't have any experience with air suspension, so I can't point you in which direction to go. But if you're wanting a nice show car slammed build, that is going to be the route that you want to go. Or if you just want the on-the-fly adjustability of air suspension, then absolutely. Unfortunately, I don't personally have any experience, like I said, so that's going to be up to you and what you find. So now that your car is lowered, you have an exhaust and you have awesome induction sounds from your nice intake that you've got. What's next? Well, number 4 probably one of my favorite things is a off-the-shelf tune, or a pro tune if you are able to do so, is going to be probably one of the best bang for buck mods you can do to your car as far as changing its characteristics on how it performs, the amount of power you're getting out of it, and just optimizing everything for your vehicle. And now the mods that you have done to it, a tune is one of the best things you can do. We are currently tuned on Unitronic and 034 Motorsports. I love them both. I love them for different reasons, but they are absolutely phenomenal. The fact that you can just flash tune your car at home off the shelf is great. You don't have to go to a third party or a dealer of their software anymore. You can actually just flash it with a computer, given you have one at home in the comfort of your own garage or driveway. 95% of the time when you throw an intake or an exhaust on, you're actually not going to make any more power than factory. You'll probably make a little bit less until you get a tune that is optimized for your setup. Once you have that tune and you flash it to your car, it is then able to utilize the extra air and the extra flow that you're getting, and that's where you're going to pick your power up from. Now that you're tuned, now that you have an exhaust, an intake, and you're lowered, what's next? What do you do? Where else do you have to go? Well, you gotta hit the canyons. And while you're hitting the canyons, don't you want those nice, crisp shifts? That's where number 5 comes in. We're talking about short shifters, and on DSG automatic platforms, you're going to get an aftermarket set of paddles. It's gonna give you a nicer, clickier feeling. It'll just feel a little bit more connected, a little bit crisp and immediate. It won't feel as kind of soft and vague. And that goes for your shifter and your short shifter as well. It's going to be notchier. You're going to feel those gears. You're going to feel your shifter lock in, and it's going to be a much more enjoyable experience. Given you like that, if you're watching this video, you probably do. Oh, it's the chair. I thought somebody was behind me. So like I said, yeah, number 5 is a good quality short shifter or aftermarket paddles. It's just going to enhance your connection to the vehicle, the way you shift, and the feeling that you get when you shift. It is a very worthwhile upgrade, especially on the Volkswagens. Their shifter setup from factory is kind of booty cheeks, in my opinion. The manual transmission leaves quite a bit to be desired. There are definitely things you can do to improve that, short shifter being one of those. I will say, this is not GTI specific. This video is kind of generic, although it is more implied for Volkswagen Audi platforms. I do have a aftermarket short shifter in the S2000. It is a hybrid short shifter, and it is literally like a bolt action rifle. I absolutely love the feeling of it. It is super noshy and super close, and you really can't beat it. So those are our top 5 mods that I recommend for beginners, or if you're just looking for something to spice up your daily a little bit. These are what I would recommend. And along with that, I have 2 honorable mentions. Tires are going to be number 1 because now you're making more power, you're driving a little bit harder, you want to stay connected to the road, you don't want to end up in a ditch or a crowd. Mustangs, you want to stay on the road. So a nice good set of sticky tires, a good set of all seasons. If you live in a winter-esque climate, then a nice set of winter tires for the winter is going to be awesome. And then having a set of summer tires is going to be really great, because then you can alternate and still get your nice, solid, your summer tires, and stay connected to the road and get that good feeling. Number 2 for our honorable mention is going to be our hood strut. Volkswagen, why did you take it away? Why did you stop? You shouldn't have stopped. On the Mark 8, you don't get a hood strut, unfortunately. Probably due to cost-cutting reasons, but on the Mark 7, the Mark 6, they both came with one, and they just stopped on the Mark 8, which sucks. So If you have a car that doesn't have hood struts, I highly recommend spending the $100 to $200 and getting a good quality set of hood struts. You don't know that you need it until you have them, and then you're gonna be like, I should have done this forever ago. S2000 needs them. If anybody makes S2000 hood struts, wants to send us out a set, by all means, hit me up. You can contact me at the email in the description. And with that, that's where we're going to end today's video. Thank you all for watching. I'm Austin, this is Octane Media, and we will catch you next time. Peace.